Etta Baker's Dewdrop. Very interesting tune. I actually find it to be one of her more challenging tunes, even though what you're doing with the left hand is incredibly simple. The right hand is somewhat syncopated. I've heard the tune described as a rag. That does not seem right to me at all. It's not in ragtime for one reason. I mean, of course, some songs that were kind of titled rags weren't always in ragtime. It could certainly have some ragtime influence on it. I mean, the music of Blind Blake and Blind Boy Fuller and all that may have had some influence. I think it's a much older tune, actually. You got to remember, Etta Baker was born, 1913? And her father, his last name was Reed, if I remember correctly. He was a guitarist, really more of an old-time and early blues guitarist. So she would have heard earlier music. I mean, he would have been alive in the late 1800s. Around 1900 or so, 1890, 1910, is what we call the parlor music era. And at that point in time, this was before blues, this was before country, anything became formalized. I mean, yeah, you had fiddle players out in the country, and you always had field hollers and such as that. But pianos were beginning to be available, we'll put it that way, beginning to be available. I actually have a beautiful old upright piano from 1900. So they were definitely, if you had if you had the means, you had a piano. Harpsichord was actually very popular, and so was the mandolin, and so was the guitar, but mainly as an instrument for women. They were the smaller body parlor guitars, like you may remember Marty Robbins liked to play a little parlor guitar. And there was a specific type of music called parlor music. The girls from wealthier homes would go to the conservatory and learn to play music. I mean, women's colleges basically taught etiquette, dance, music, and flower arranging. Or you became a teacher. You could go to teacher's college. That was pretty much it, you know. Your whole point of going to college was to take a few years to meet the right husband from a wealthy family, and you'd have this nice, Victorian home, those beautiful houses, all this beautiful furniture, and you'd entertain in your parlors. You walk into those old houses, there are two parlors. There's a men's parlor and there's a women's parlor. The men could smoke and drink over here. The women played their little guitars and mandolins and piano and sipped their sherry or tea or whatever they were having, depending on who they were, very politely over there. And every now and then they get together for dancing. And this would have been more of a dance tune. And my theory is that either Etta Baker's father or she heard it in one of those homes. I know that Elizabeth Cotton picked up several of those tunes, like Vestipule and Spanish Flandang. They were known in the early blues community. And it seems to me they came more from really the Victorian parlor tradition. So all that said, now let's get into this tune. And like I said, the left hand is really simple. It's a C chord. And we're going to do a, more than likely, again, this tune was written for somebody who learned classical style 5-finger picking. I do it with 3 fingers. I believe Miss Baker did it with 3 fingers. And what you do is a roll. We're going to start with, let's see, that E note right there and just go. So use your thumb twice. Go. And it's simple. We're just staying right on the E chord. So the C chord. Sorry. So E, roll through. E, open. So E, D, C. C, E. We're going to go to a G7. And again, we're going to do a 4-note roll. And that it really is essential. It's not 8 notes. It's essentially a quarter and 3/8. No. It's an 1/8 and 3/16 is what it would be. So see, there's that. And then you hit 2 strings. So back to C. So yeah, you're just playing 2 open strings there. G, F. So 3 times you're going to do that. So, and we're back to C. And start on the C. And you can play it a little faster, of course, than I did. May even be able to give it a ragtime feel if you did that. But like I said, I don't think that's where this song came from. So this time we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just hit that E note by itself. So C, E. And then go again for the E. So you're just repeating there. All right. And then that's G, E, D, C to an F chord. So it's just going to go 1, 2, 3, 3. And we're just, by doing that, we're going F. I guess it's A. And then the F and C notes together. So back to A. So. All right, just like that. But that starts our next roll. So we're going to go, let's see. Real easy if you don't think about it. Back to G. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's just G, F, A, B, C. And that time you just sweep down through, you just go, put your pinky finger on the G note. All right, so let's see if I can go through it once slowly. And you should have it. Like I said, pretty simple song once you get your right hand down, because the left hand's not doing a whole lot. That's it. Such a pretty tune. As I said, for me it was more challenging because I'm more of a blues and country style picker, and this is a very different style of song, more classically influenced. You might even think of it as a light classical song, but it's very pretty, and it has I think a feminine quality to it. That may be another reason I had trouble with it. Because I'm just used to wailing on the guitar, but this is subtle. Oops. Yeah. And it just keeps going like that. I think when she did it on a record, probably the One Dime Blues album, or no, she did with the album with Taj Mahal as well, she just played through it 4 or 5 times. And it's nice. And I can definitely see an old Victorian dance in a formal parlor. And she played a little faster on the record than I just did. But, either way. Speed it up, slow it down, play it however you like. Y'all, as always, email me if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you next week.